Colin Farrell and Sir Patrick Stewart compared their action figures on Wednesday's episode of The Late Late Show with James Corden on CBS. The 45-year-old Irish actor, who portrays the Penguin in the superhero film The Batman, was not impressed with his action figure's hefty physique. James, 43, asked Colin how it felt with his first action figure looking nothing like him. "The eyebrows are in the neighborhood," Colin said. "I look like him wearing a sumo thing. The crotch is all wrong. Far too ample." James then pulled out Patrick's Captain Picard action figure and compared it to Colin's toy. "It's very flat, it looks like I've been sitting down for 10 years, said Colin of his action figures behind. "Could you just turn me around?" asked Patrick, 81, and then Colin described Patrick's Captain Picard action figures behind as pert. "It really is," said James. "I swear to you that I didn't know," said Patrick. "Yeah you did," said James. "Look at that, it's a tight peach." James also asked Patrick whether in light of William Shatner's recent trip to space if he had ever considered traveling out there himself. "Yeah, I've thought about it," said Patrick. "I think I would pass out," Colin quipped. James said to Colin that he knew he was a nervous flyer and asked him what he would do if there was turbulence on a plane. Colin acted it out and grabbed Patrick's hand. "You touched me," said Patrick. "Did I break protocol?" asked Colin. "Colin Farrell touched me," said Patrick, who raised his arms in the air triumphantly. James congratulated Colin on The Batman and asked him about making the superhero movie that will be in theaters on Friday. He said it was a little uncomfortable because he went through 4 hours of prosthetic makeup. James showed the audience a photo of Colin as the Penguin and asked if it was true that the first time he wore the makeup that he went to a Starbucks and no one recognized him. "Absolutely, and I ordered a oat milk latte and they seemed very surprised," said Colin. "Yeah, with 2 stevia. Yeah, he doesn't look like an oat milk guy," said James. Colin said some of the other actors also didn't recognize him. "Jeffrey Wright walked by and I said, 'Morning man,' and he looked at me like he wanted me thrown off the set," said Colin. Then he went over and talked to the director and the director pointed at him and came back and said, "Colin?" James asked Patrick if had ever been on a set and not recognized another actor. Patrick told him when he was filming the original Dune that everyone was talking about Sting being on set. "One day I was sitting next to him and I said, 'Sting, they say you are a musician,' and he said, 'Yup,'" said Patrick. "And I said, 'What do you play?' He said, 'Bass.' I said I've always wanted to ask people why they choose to play that huge instrument. It's standing up and you don't get to sit down." Patrick said Sting giggled and said, "No, not a double bass, a bass guitar." I said, "Really, that's amazing, do you play in a band?" He said, "Yeah, the Police." And I said, "You play in a police band?" James asked him about the new season of Star Trek, Picard, and he said that this season his character will have romance. "Is Picard going to get saucy?" asked James. "Yes," said Patrick. "Sounds like Picard is going to get cancelled," said Colin. Patrick talked about working with Whoopi Goldberg on the set and how they were initially surprised when she, an Academy Award winner, joined their cast. He asked her why she wanted to do a syndicated sci-fi show, and she said as a child she watched the show and there was an African-American woman actress playing her leading role and being highly respected and thought well of and important in her job. Patrick said he thought to himself that one of us made it. I was so moved. James also asked Colin about his other movie After Yang, and he said it was completely different from Batman and was about memory and loss. It couldn't be any more different than the Batman, Colin said.